I am Dracula.
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Classically Weird. My name is Headmaster Howard. I'm your host for today's episode. And joining me, as always, is my lovely wife and partner in this endeavor, Miss Ragana Ray.
Hello, my fellow weird, and hello, my darling.
All right, so today we're going to be journeying through the world of 1931's Dracula.
Dracula. Now, can I just I wanted to point out that 1931 was 94 years ago.
I know.
And also 9 plus 4 is a 13. So we're just going to honor real quick the goddess and the number 13 for being my favorite number as a weirdo. But 94 years.
94 years. Almost a full 100 years ago.
I know.
And it's still one of those cinematic impact movies. It defined a genre.
Really. It really did, but it's also a little sleepy.
To modern audiences.
Yes. And that's definitely, when you think about in our day and age right now where we are so fed information and we have all of the different media platforms that are just boom, 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 boom with stuff. And we have the technology that has happened between 1931 and 2005 for movies. And now we're so used to the booms and the bangs and all of those different things that you almost... it's like downtime, because it's not really like a scary one because we've been through so much scare, but we will talk about that. But yes, 94 years. I wanted to...
94 years.
I did. I just wanted to make sure we brought that up. So this is our first
classic horror.
Classic that we are covering.
This was the horror movie.
Of its time, yes.
Of its time.
And launched the whole genre of horror that became what we know today, correct? If I remember that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Right, so this movie was directed by Todd Browning, starring Bela Lugosi. This movie was not just a horror movie. It was a stake through the heart of silent cinema.
You threw a pun at me. I was gonna laugh. A stake through the heart. Keep going. I love it, though.
This sparked the renaissance of the monster movie culture. This was the first wave of people seeing what horror cinema truly could be. Fun fact, before we start even getting into fun facts and cinematography and all that, this was the first horror movie to actually use sound.
Wow, coming out of the silent film era.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Hence the stake through the heart of silent cinema.
Yes, and I love a good pun too in there. So, wow. Okay, that makes a lot of sense in where the dynamic comes from, because that time era, my goodness. I mean, I keep going back to technology and stuff and just where we are in this 94 years since that came. But my goodness, thinking about people that are going to the theater and have never heard sound from a movie, like how incredible that would be.
Well, they would utilize things like a piano player or something like that to add sound while they were there, but there was never sound that was specifically from the movie itself.
And the actors.
Yep.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, that's a cool fact.
Yeah. I thought you would enjoy
I
that.
do very much so.
And that's something we'll talk about more in depthly when we get into the cinema side of it and all that. So, yeah. All right, my love. So now let's start diving into the plot of 1931's Dracula. You have Renfield, a solicitor who ignores local warnings. He travels to Transylvania to finalize a deal with Count Dracula. Already the villagers whisper about curses and monsters, all of that, but Renfield shrugs it off, as horror movie characters usually do. It's very common. At the castle, he meets with the Count, smooth, elegant, but deeply unsettling. Cobwebs drape the halls, and Dracula glides through them as if he was part of the shadows. Before long, Renfield becomes his thrall, laughing raving, just the puppet of a vampire. Dracula then sets sail for England. The crew then vanishes one by one. When the ship docks, there's only Renfield left, giggling and like maniacally, like a madman, just in the hold of the ship. Dracula, well, he's in a new land now. Dressed like a high society member, Dracula then charms his way into polite London circles. He befriends Dr. Stewart, meets Mina, Harker, and Lucy, and wastes no time in feeding on Lucy, who then shortly dies after. Now, on that note, that's one of those things that audiences at the time would have been incredibly shocked by.
Which part?
Him working his way into the polite society side of it.
Dracula?
Yes. So
yes.
Dracula working his way in and then preying on your kids, that kind of thing.
Oh, yes. I could see that.
Because he wasn't just this big monster, he had charm. Right?
Yes.
It's suave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that would have deeply disturbed audiences at the time. Because no member of polite society would do that.
Right.
So
right.
That's also one of the things plot-wise that really kind of sparked this off for a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, as the story progresses, suspicion grows. Van Helsing gets introduced. He starts recognizing the signs of vampirism, blood loss, bite marks, strange behavior. Dracula then tries to hypnotize him, but Helsing resists. Their verbal duels are some of the tensest moments in the film. It's like intelligence versus evil.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
After that, Dracula sets his sights on Mina, slowly whittling her down, draining her of life. Then you get to the ending of the movie in Carfax Abbey. Van Helsing and Harker, they track Dracula down. And the funny thing is, the film doesn't even show the stalking. All the audience hears are groans, a thud. At the end of it, Dracula does die. Of course, he gets stabbed in the coffin, all that stuff. And that's really the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It really is a simplistic plot.
So simplistic.
I think it's partially so simplistic because in this day and age, like you've mentioned already, we've seen these crazy, outlandish plots and
the things that we are able to search on the internet now.
Right.
I mean, people are so immune to, I shouldn't say everybody, because there are still some people that don't watch horror because they cannot handle the different elements of blood and tortures and different things. I mean, we were setting up today and there was a movie on the background and I turned around and it was somebody's aisle and I was like, oh, so I mean, like, I'm not even fully desensitized. However, yeah, back then you had this film and somebody dashing and dramatic has just walked through the door and can just hypnotize and seduce you in a way that you've never felt before. Let me hold my pearls, so, and they buy a cemetery and they're from the dark and they can woo you, like, absolutely, so I can definitely see that time era of people just being in awe and a frantic because one, I just heard a movie. I saw it on the screen. I heard it. And now I'm with what movies do. They leave us with a lingering feeling. And that lingering feeling that sometimes leaves us with, what happens if I meet a very nice, well-established man? I mean, could this be The Walking Dead? And is he going to take me away? Or, like The Quiet Place, that I just still go away with and am panicked for the rest of my life. So there is that aspect around it. So I can definitely see that.
Yeah. Now, what you're bringing up there, that whole different dynamic of a horror villain at the time, kind of creating that trope. He wasn't a brute. He wasn't a monster.
Nope.
It wasn't gory.
Nope.
It was seductive.
Yep.
And that seduction into purity was a huge taboo and fear of culture
at that time. I mean, how many times, we're talking in a time of you did not engage with another person until you were married.
Yep.
And now when you're out there looking for your betrothed, now you have to worry about whether they're dead or alive.
Yeah. All right, my love. So now let's start talking about the cinematography of Dracula.
Let's talk about it.
When people think of Dracula today, they picture Bela Lugosi's accent, the cape, the hypnotic stare. But what really made this film terrifying in 1931 wasn't the dialogue.
It's the eyes.
It was the cinematography.
I was gonna say, it's the eyes.
Yeah.
It's the eyes. There was all those different scenes. And I swear, like, he would get closer and they would vignette those eyes. Like, that's all you could see was these vignetted eyes.
So funnily enough, I'm going to be talking about that.
What?
So that was actually the work of Karl Freund,
Okay.
who was a German cinematographer that was brought in
Okay.
to do he was the director of photography on this film, director of lighting, photography, all of that. He had a lot of influences from German expressionist films. He was actually one of the directors of photography on Metropolis, which was a absolute classic of a film. Not a horror movie. I mean, kind of. It's a dystopian movie.
Okay. I was like, I know I've heard the name, but I haven't seen that.
I've mentioned the name to you before when we've been talking about Gothic culture and those sorts of things and the influences that cinema has had on Gothic culture. Metropolis is one of those.
Okay.
Like it defined a huge swath of entertainment.
Okay. Interesting.
So Carl was involved in those. Absolutely amazing. And honestly, you can see, if you're familiar with that work, you can see a lot of the same styles between that and this movie. Heavy shadows, thick fog, cobweb-filled halls. It doesn't just look gothic. It feels like death.
Yes. I mean, there's that one scene with the big spider web.
Yes.
And as Dracula is coming down. And I might have actually even said during our watch of it, it's like, is he walking through the spider web? Because he just appeared on the other side of it. But it was dramatic and beautiful. And there is something, I have a fondness anyways for black and white cinematography as well as photography. So there was a lot of points that I did enjoy watching the cinematography in this. Some of it, because you just have to take your mind out of 2025, is a little like, oh wow, that's campy. That's campy. But it's not, because it's what was the boom of 1931. So when you can take yourself back into that, then it becomes even more thought-provoking to me. And those vignette eyes, as we were watching it, I noticed that through on different scenes that he would be in really close. And that was definitely, his eyes were more cinematography than I think even the castle.
I would fully agree with you. Now, since you brought up the eyes again, let's actually talk about it.
Okay.
So the famous Lugosi stare.
Oh, yes.
That's what it was
We've
called.
seen memes.
So
many. And 94 years later, Bela Lugosi is still a meme with the eyes.
So that was achieved using pin lighting. So pin lighting is where you take a focused one spot and you direct it just at one area. They did that, and they flagged off the other bits. So you get that dark, sharp shadows around the eyes.
Yeah.
But the eyes themselves glow.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
That was done through pin lighting. So they used something like a Fresnel or a Snoot to take essentially a big stand light and funnel it down
into that shot.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Very interesting concept. They had actually talked about doing it in post, which at the time in post, what they would have had to have done was take the film, take a little bit of solution, and do it on every single frame.
Oh my gosh,
which they would have done because that's just how you do things at that time. However, Fresnel was like, no, you'll get a much better
so there was another
this way.
technique that was brought into this versus what was the standard is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say. There was a standard of okay, like we want this shot, but we're going to have to go frame by frame and highlight it. But then somebody else came in with other eyes, other knowledge, and
Yep.
said, hey, let's try this technique out with some lighting, which even in our own space, we've seen what can happen with lighting.
Oh, it's amazing what good lighting
can do.
and the right camera angles
can do for you.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's really cool. So I'm hearing that 1931 Dracula had multiple layers of new booms in
the
industry for that time period.
Absolutely. And funnily enough, that scene right there, the Lugosi gaze, the Lugosi stare, has influenced how we depict hypnotism and seduction and all that ever since. So every time you see a movie or a show with a vampire, think Interview with a Vampire, think Twilight, True Blood, anything where you have a vampire seducing somebody.
Yeah.
It's the same, like you get that stare.
But not everybody has the stare. Just because it can be achieved. And there are plenty of people out there in the world that are trying to stare down the pretty girl down the hall. And there's a fine line between seductive stare and you're being a little creepy. Like, I mean, it's really a talent to get to that point.
One of the other things that you may have noticed about this film is it also feels a lot more like a Broadway stage play than a movie. And that's not by accident.
Okay, I'm thinking back through some scenes. Yeah. There's also a very dark setting.
Very dark.
Everything was, I mean, there was a couple times I was like, whoa, this is very harsh shadows in there. But I also know that it goes around with the ambiance and the cinematography of the film. But it was, and it's, again, I'm going to keep saying 94. It was a little grainy. So, I mean, we're talking even for us
a little grainy is good.
A little grainy was good. So it really did add to the aesthetic. But just what clarity we see now. So sometimes when you're watching stuff and those background details, because it is such an older flick, I was having a hard time with differentiating things because it was
going on.
Yeah, like it was darker in other aspects of it.
Yeah. So,
but why the stage setting? You said that there was like a stage setting thing, and yeah, I recognize that. What was going on there?
Okay, so this was actually based more on the Broadway play of Dracula than the actual Bram Stoker novel.
Okay.
There were elements, of course, because Bram Stoker's novel was the original inspiration for the stage play and so on and so forth. But this was actually based primarily upon the Broadway play. So the sets being kind of stage-like and all of that were actually on purpose. Think to when Renfield gets to the castle first and you have the Gothic staircase going up and all that. It's very stage-like. Yes.
The scene that's really popping in my head that feels very stage-like, there's a scene where Renfield gets there, but he's waiting for the carriage and he's like disputing that I need the carriage, and the townspeople are like, no, we don't go out after dark, like there are vampires up there, and he's disputing it because you even said in the plot, that's the whole thing. And the way that they're all kind of just standing there, I'm like, are they on a stage? Because it looked theatrical.
Right. All right, so here's another thing as far as cinematography goes that's quite interesting. Even though they had the technology to be able to add music to it, they purposely made a choice to leave it with no music score. Because it helped to build the tension for the audience. Outside of the credits, which you see at the beginning, etc., there is a music score at the beginning. There's nothing.
Nothing else through it. Yeah, it was very quiet.
Very quiet.
Yeah.
I even called that out as we were watching it.
Yeah.
It's unsettling.
And we said that also in, oh my goodness, the one with the walker.
In a Violent Nature.
Why that name just, sorry. In a Violent Nature, because there was no musical scores in that either. Just the noises of the Canadian mountains and being tracked down.
Yeah.
So yeah, that again, that that unsettling feeling, and I've said unsettling a few times, but that's really the word for it, is going through and being stalked and no noise.
So that means that the visuals, they had to do a lot of heavy lifting. There's no audio to pull you into the scene. The lights, the shadows, they all had to do a lot of heavy lifting. So the visuals were hugely important, which, I mean, it was kind of like, did they want to do it better than a silent film? Did they want to prove that not only could they be the first horror movie with sound, but also do better visuals than some of the...
I mean, why not? I mean, isn't the goal in life to just step up the
No,
bar
yeah, step up the game.
yeah, that's the whole goal. So good for them for trying to step it up.
Yeah.
And look what they achieved.
Of course, we're still talking about it.
94 years later.
Yeah. All right, my love. So how about we start diving into some fun facts about Dracula 1931?
Give me some fun facts.
So, Bela Lugosi actually was not the first choice for Dracula.
Really? Who was?
It was an actor named John Chaney, or Lon Chaney.
Lon Chaney?
Lon Chaney. However, he died before filming could begin.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Bela Lugosi had to beg to be Dracula.
Wow, he wanted it bad.
He wanted it bad. You know why?
Why?
Because he was the lead in the Broadway show. He was Dracula.
He was Dracula.
Yeah.
I have a fun fact for you. It might be on your list, and it'll tell you how much of Dracula Bela Lugosi truly was.
Now, for Bela Lugosi's role in this, he only made $500 a week, which even in that time
Is
was
huge.
No, that was pocket change
To an actor?
in comparison to what the movie made.
Oh, okay. What did the movie
The
make?
movie made money hand over fist. They could have afforded to pay him several $1,000s a week
Uh-huh.
and still made profit and made enough to pay everybody and do all of that.
Wow.
The movie made profit hand over fist.
Wow.
People flocked to the theater to see this. This was like when Jaws came out and people flocked to it.
Or when The Exorcist came out.
The Exorcist came out and people flocked to it. It's that same kind of thing. It was a cultural phenomenon.
Not horror, but Avatar was the same too.
Yes, absolutely. Bela Lugosi also did not just play the role of Dracula; he lived it. When he was on stage, when he was on set, he never broke character. He always wore the cape. He always wore the costume, and he always made people address him as Count Dracula.
He was. What is that?
Method acting.
Method acting. I was about to say he was fully embraced the method acting.
He even signed autographs as Dracula.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep giving me because I got one for you that I don't know if it's on your list.
Did you notice the armadillo in the castle? When Renfield is walking,
yes, because I was like, "There's no rats." I said they used an armadillo instead of a rat. That's right. Why did they use an armadillo?
So, one, armadillos are nowhere near Transylvania.
Transylvania or England or any, right?
Right?
I don't know. Do you in
because
England have?
that scene took place in Transylvania.
Oh, yes.
There's no armadillos anywhere near there.
So where was
Why they used it was because the director wanted an exotic animal of some sort.
An armadillo is now an exotic animal.
At the time.
You know what? Those exotic little creatures. Wow. He wanted it.
Because nothing says Transylvania like Texas wildlife.
Oh, rest in peace to the roadkill. It's like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't use rats. I wanted something exotic, so I got an armadillo.
Dwight Fry, Renfield,
Mm-hmm.
actually kind of stole the show from Bela Lugosi a little bit. People actually reported leaving the theater talking more about Renfield
And
that
his
maniacal laugh
I could see that.
than they did even Bela Lugosi's performance. To the point where he went on to become Universal Studios' go-to creepy guy.
Oh, and
He was in so many of those Universal monster horror films.
Was he?
Yeah. He was in a lot of them.
Wow. Okay.
So we'll be seeing more of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, his crazy laughter and all of that. I mean, you want to talk about even that would have been scary at that point. I mean, because if you also think about that time, because society didn't have news broadcasts, so we didn't have YouTube, any of those types of things. So people also didn't know what was going on in mental health facilities. And there is a side where they show Renfield in a mental health facility. And kudos, let's just give just a little tiny shout out to the nurse. Come on, fly guy, that carries around
the bug eater.
The bug eater. And the nurse was actually some good comic relief in there. There was just these like little moments that were just funny little notes. But also being somebody in 1931 and getting an idea of what is being held in the insane asylums. And all of a sudden seeing that's what crazy looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That would also be terrifying as well.
It would. To
have come out. And then, I could see people walking out and being like, oh my gosh, is that really what's happening? Is that where the people really go? They act like that? Oh my gosh, what is happening to our world? Yeah. That would be a huge thing. I mean, years later, we've seen what has happened in mental institutions over the years, which is just horrific. But, we've made horror movies about that too. But I can totally see how Renfield came along and really was an impact and stole that show.
Yeah.
And kudos to him for being an icon.
Right?
I mean, Bela Lugosi became an icon.
Amazingly so.
Amazingly so.
Now, another fun fact for you.
Okay.
There was some censorship battles with this movie.
Censorship? Oh,
yes. Okay. So, in one of the original drafts of this movie, there was actually a warning at the end credits for people to watch out for real-world vampires.
Oh, no.
The censors did not like that because they didn't want people leaving
in a panic. It's like in Men in Black when they say that people on the individual level are intelligent, but as a mass, they are completely stupid and they cannot handle knowing that there was alien life.
Absolutely.
And so even just taunting people with that kind of scare that there's the potential for real vampires, it would have just caused more chaos. More chaos. I mean, we already have the bell ringing to make sure, like if you were buried alive, people were, oh my gosh, walking through cemeteries. I love it though. All that little spooky. I don't know if I would have loved it in 1931, but 2025, I like being weird.
They found that a lot of the test audiences were leaving going, wait, that's real?
It's like the test audiences during the Blair Witch Project. Witch Project. Or even Paranormal Activity. Can you imagine like the test subjects between
the found footage?
Oh my gosh. They found vampires? Is this really real?
Yeah.
What's happening in our world? I can be eaten in the night.
Okay. Let's roll through a couple more fun facts.
Good. Give it to me.
All right. This is a love movie. It was released on Valentine's Day in 1931.
So next time you want to woo-woo on Valentine's Day, set up a home theater with Dracula, 1931. Released on Valentine's Day. That's wild. Yeah. That's funny.
And with the romance seduction undertones.
Take your date to see a horror flick for Valentine's Day. I mean, I'm down for it. I'm all about it.
That actually was a trope back in the day. People used to take their dates to horror movies because the mentality behind it is the girls would get scared and then jump into
your arms. Yeah, I've heard that over the years too.
Yeah.
Until the man has to jump in your arms because there's a spider. Sorry. Give me more fun facts. I'm waiting to see if you've got the one I got.
Last fun fact that I have for you on my list. Bela Lugosi's final rest. He was buried in
his cape. That was the one I was waiting for you. That's the one I had.
He was buried in the cape. He was buried in Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Been there.
And fans still go to his grave today.
I have.
Yeah.
I do not have picture proof because a lot of my stuff from California and, all of that. I mean, I would have been there. Goodness, this would have been either anywhere between 2010 and 2014. Wow. Because when I did live in California, I enjoy cemetery exploring, as you well know. And I've been to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Okay. And they actually do movies there. I think there's no more room to bury anybody there. That would have to be fact checked. I do apologize, but that was my understanding at some point. So they actually do movies where people show up, you pay a fee, and they play some sort of, spooky flick. And you bring sleeping bags and stuff, and you hang out. I don't know if, and you hang out in the cemetery. I don't know if people are like propped up against headstones, which, I mean, in my opinion, you should always ask before you because you don't know what's going to come home with you. But it is like, that's how they make some of their money. And also the abundance of celebrities that have been buried there still bring people through to at least be near their grave. I mean, Marilyn Monroe, right. Bela Lugosi, it's, all of that stuff. So
that's crazy. I didn't know about that, but yeah, that's fun.
Nice. Yeah. Right. But that's fun because that's the one that I've been sitting on. I was like, give it to me. You said that you found out where Dracula was filmed at. Where
California.
It was filmed in California. Where?
Hollywood Studios.
I knew it.
Yeah.
It's that whole backlot thing because I've been to Universal. So I have been to Universal Studios in California. I have not been to Universal Studios here in Florida. Now, California is well known for their backlot stuff. And so many movies have been filmed there. And when you take the tours, they'll actually talk to you about what movies have been filmed in different areas. So when we were watching the movie and I was looking at some of the scenery, I was thinking, that's the back lot. That's cool because also people sometimes know and sometimes don't know that even Psycho, the Psycho house still to this day sits at the Hollywood Universal Studios back lot.
Yeah.
So that's what I was wanting to know was where it was filmed at, because I did catch little nuggets of me remembering things from the back lot because at one time I was a pass holder and went various times because like anything, you go on any of those little tours and you get a different tour guide and sometimes they throw in other little tidbits of information. So yeah, so it was a good time. So it was a good one. I enjoyed that. Yes.
Yeah. All right, my love. So now let's start getting into our ratings for this film. Out of 5. So for cinematography for Dracula 1931, 1 to 5 skulls.
I'm going to give it a 4 because I'm looking at it from 1931 eyes. Is that fair?
That's fair.
That's fair. I was debating on between a 3 or 4, but I'm going to take it up because of it being 1931 and what was available to them in 1931.
I would agree with that assessment. Okay. I would actually put that at a 4 as well. And for me, it's not necessarily about the limitations of 1931 and what was available to them. It's more about the cultural impact that this movie had. The cinematography groundwork that was laid out through this movie, we have seen ripples of and echoes of, even in today's cinema, even in movies that are coming out this year, 2025, there are still a lot of those cinematography practices. There's still a lot of those lighting practices. There's still a lot of that tension build, so on and so forth, that just this movie just had, and it made the mold. Agreed.
Okay, what's our next rating? I don't remember.
Fright factor.
Ooh. Okay, if I'm keeping myself in 1931, fright factor's gonna be somewhere about the 4 again, because being that, the darkness of the coming and this new creature that could potentially be between life and death and could either give me life or give me death. And also where we touched base on the insane asylums and learning that. So I think that those aspects, along with the no music and the shadows, that it would have triggered some discomfort in me in 1931. So I give it 4. If we're talking 2025, I struggled to stay awake towards the end because it was a long day, and I've seen a lot more stuff. I'd give it a 2.
So, funnily enough, I'm going to take the standpoint of looking back from today's perspective.
Okay.
So, for me, I actually am going to rate this a 2 as far as a scare factor, fright factor.
Mm-hmm.
It is not scary to me in this day and age. For many of the same reasons you just talked about, there have been a lot more advances in the fear side of it. This, to me, it holds a beautiful place in my heart because of how much I love horror cinema, but it does not scare me.
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe even put this at a 1.
Agree. I'm not
I might even scale that down into a 1.
okay. But even at an overall 1, let's go into our other rating. What would you overall rate this for somebody to watchability?
Rewatchability, I'd say probably a 2.
Really?
Unless you are a fan of cinema or horror cinema, it's an hour and
Something of your
20-something
life.
minutes
Yeah.
of quiet, dark shadows. Unless you know the history, unless you know what went into it, you really are not going to have an appreciation for it. So I would say watchability or rewatchability, it's low on the scale.
I would agree, because I have stated, for the same reason that you said, there's the no sound, it's dark, and I got too comfortable, and I was like, okay, we read like the last few minutes, and we sit in a dark space with our lighting on to watch these movies, and there was that fact of it was just dragging. So even in our rewatchability movies, there's some sort of action engagement that's happening. Now, if I was looking for a rainy day movie to lounge in my bed and maybe doze off to and just see what a horror movie was from 1931, then yeah, why not? But otherwise, I would agree, a 1.
Mm-hmm.
That you're not gonna have a huge takeaway from this, unless you're a movie buff.
I will say, in the context of this adventure with you, this endeavor,
yes,
I am thoroughly glad that we watched it.
Yes.
I saw this years ago, and I'm talking I was maybe a preteen.
Okay.
I saw this.
Because some of these old movies back in the day, before we had streaming,
turn on like Turner Classic Movies.
Thank you. Yes, and they would pop on, and you would kind of watch in and out. So yes, I remember all of that stuff and watching it. But this was a different level of sitting down, watching it, embodying what 1931 mindset would be around this, and visiting what has brought us to today, 94 years later.
Yeah. So in that side of it, I am actually very grateful that we went back and rewatched this.
And we'll go back and rewatch other ones too.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll have Frankenstein coming up. We'll have The Mummy.
And then there's other remakes, because I definitely want to talk about Bram Stoker's Dracula, because this film, when you watch it, it comes up and it says Dracula, but underneath there's a little Bram Stoker. Whereas when you get into, what was it, 1992, 1994? 92, it is Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh, you have brought that name up. You like that name?
I like Francis Ford Coppola. He's a great director.
We have a few horror movies on our list with Francis Ford Coppola as the director.
Yep. They'll be coming up.
And some of them have been given to us through recommendations, and some of them, Spirit just added them onto my feed and went, you might like this movie.
Well, with that being said, that is our assessment and breakdown of Dracula 1931. Let us know in the comments below if you agree with our assessment of this film, if you're going to go back and revisit this yourself, if there's something that we missed, something that we need to take into perspective on this, let us know.
But also, if you have another Dracula movie, because 1931 was the start of the Dracula movies, tell us what your favorite Dracula movie is since the making of Dracula 1931. I would want to know.
Yep. All right. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe in order to stay spooky.
And remember, stay weird.